Welcome to the one and only Isola Sacra, the one-stop shop for all your adventurous desires. Whether you're looking for thrills such as scaling the highest peaks or are simply looking for a quiet place to get away from it all, Isola Sacra is for you. Come along with me and explore historical landmarks, taste the local cuisine, get to know its friendly inhabitants, and last but not least, take in those beautiful sights. As one might expect in the year 841, the primary mode of transport to and from Isola Sacra comes in the form of galleon-class seafaring vessels. A luxurious way to travel if I do say so myself. Once aboard, you'll find a spacious hull with a variety of wonderful living arrangements. You might even get a couple hours of sleep before your back starts hurting. Some even feature a touch of privacy. And of course, fine dining is included. You put what in this?
Oh, sawdust.
So once you've settled in, sit back, enjoy the ride, and of course, the pleasant company of the crew.
The men think you're some kind of legend. Know what all legends have in common? They're dead. You're too curious by half. Keep walking.
Now, it goes without saying, voyages across the Ashen Sea are prone to experiencing, the occasional unforeseen forcibly applied misadventure and or permanently natured detour. So, before embarking, be sure to visit your family and loved ones to inform them of how much fun you're going to have on your trip to Isola Sacra. And remember, one who embraces the many hands of the one true God will never be misplaced. In the event of an untimely departure from your originally charted course, you might find yourself washed ashore in a region called the Shallows. Now, while one might be tempted to ponder the pearly white beaches in front of you, please know that at this current moment, playing in the sand is by far the lowest of your priorities. But do not fret, fellow travelers, for I have a step-by-step guide that will see you to relative safety. Step 1. Arm yourself. As we all know, Isola Sacra is a perfectly safe tourist destination, but one must always watch for pickpockets and, let's just leave it at that. Trust me, you'll be fine. Probably. Once you've acquired your weapon, do us all a favor and find yourself some clothes. Whatever you came here in is probably all in tatters and rags by now, and trust me, no one wants to see what you've got going on down there. You may have noticed already, but if you take a look at your surroundings, you'll find various culinary ingredients, such as mushrooms, artemisia herbs, and crab meat. If you ever get hungry when you're out and about, these are great resources to top you up. Just put them over a nice, toasty fire, and you're good to go.
Sawdust.
Now that you're situated, let's see the sights, shall we? There's a couple of different places we could go, but let's start with the most obvious of the bunch, Mariner's Keep. Mariner's Keep was the first line of shoreline defense for Sacrament, the capital of Isola Sacra. It housed many fine warriors, but now it is nothing more than rubble and rats, protecting only the most unscrupulous of folk. Which means, in order to get a proper look at the place, we'll need to clear out some of the less than agreeable locals as we go. Although the keep is no longer functional, it is actually fairly young in comparison to most of the other ruins on the island. That said, much of the art and decor has already rotted away, leaving us with little more than scraps to piece together the story of this historic monument. The most notable work is located in the central region of the keep in a large room which we believe might have been the barracks. This room is home to 3 large portraits. The far left portrait is fairly obscured, but it appears to depict a young to middle-aged noble sporting a star-spangled tunic. To his right we find a fair maiden, and to her right is an elderly man wearing garments extremely reminiscent of Sacrament's own Watcher. This is curious in its own right, but certainly not the most interesting thing about these paintings. Recent technological advancement and innovation has enabled us to glimpse into the past and reveal a hidden 4th painting. What we are looking at gives a healthy amount of context to the other portraits. This man is clearly the most important of the bunch, and as such, it can be assumed that he was the lord or ruler presiding over the keep, if not the entire island. The two figures flanking him were probably his son and daughter, leaving the figure to the far right to most likely be some sort of advisor, similar to the role of our current Watcher. Another prominent piece is located in what could have been the keep's central atrium. There isn't too much going on with this skeleton, but it is the only one of its kind on this island. We may never know what it was pointing to, as the upper walls have given way to time. Once you walk down the stairs, you'll be confronted by an egregious act of vandalism in the central market. This is a completely unsanctioned bonfire, and trust me, the authorities will be notified. Moving on, the market gives way to the mess hall and main gateway. If you look out to your left, you'll find a spectacular view of the Orban Glades, which just so happens to be our next stop. The lush wooded region of the Orban Glades is always a pleasure to experience. The region is dominated by a plateau that rivals the towering height of the cliffs of the lowland meadows to the south. The Glades' standout geological feature, however, is not the enormous plateau, but the ancient structure that resides within. This structure in particular has caved in and thus has been exposed to the elements for longer than anyone can remember. What we are looking at is a massive chamber originally constructed by an ancient race known as the Sacra. The Sacra style of architecture is unique in its seemingly organic construction made of a combination of interwoven metal and stone. Modern architects are still baffled by how structures like these were built. Some even claim they were built by the old gods and the Sacra merely resided within. Within the chamber itself are several enormous statues. They don't tell us much about the Sacra civilization, but the symbolism found on a few of the statues closely resembles the universal representation for focus. Perhaps this is a clue. The lack of metal and comparatively crude sculpting leads experts to believe these statues were without doubt made by the Sacra, or perhaps some early form of Dasha rather than the old gods. Speaking of the Dasha, one of their many shrines is located on a much smaller plateau in the southwestern part of the Glades. However sacrilegious it may be, if you wish to see it, it has been marked on your provided map in the description. Nearby is a rather spectacular waterfall that empties from the Orban Glades and into the shallows. It is only accessible via swimming, so be careful not to go over the side. The next stop on our journey is Sacrament itself. Now, at this point, I must be honest with you, there are some instances of rather large Torn roaming this island. If you encounter one of these beings, be sure to, just wait for someone else to deal with it. And that concludes part 1 of the ultimate travel guide to Isola Sacra. If you've made it this far, congrats on not being dead, and stay tuned for part 2, the capital. And as always, thanks for watching.